Okay, this video screencast is going to address issues of email deliverability. There's actually one or two other videos like this on our knowledge base, but this one is going to be a little more specific to situations where you set up everything correctly, but you're still getting some bounces or emails that we weren't able to deliver or were not delivered to the user. First and foremost, make sure you've got domain validation set up. There's another video that walks you through the whole process. If you're sending email through your own SMTP server, there's nothing we can do about for that either. Whatever your server is doing, we have no insight into it. So if you're going to go through your own server, you're kind of on your own with that part. So if that's what you're doing, then there's very little that we can do, except we can tell you whether or not the mail was forwarded to your server or not. So if you've got the green lights on here, check marks across the board and valid, then you're good to go there. So the question then becomes, well, why do sometimes emails not get to the recipient still? And that has to do with some other forms of blocking or validations that take place, some of which we have control over and some we do not. So by the time you see this video, hopefully I'll have this ready, but right now you can certainly go into a customer, a user, and look at the email log. At present, I don't think it shows like welcome emails and password resets, but I'm going to address that here in a moment. But you can go here and you can click on delivery attempts and you can see what happened. You can see exactly what happened. So if one of these failed, or if it was a soft fail or a hard fail, you'll see that here, and you'll also be able to look at the delivery attempts and see what it says here. This is where you'll see the reason why. Was it blacklisted? Was it an internal block by the recipient's email server or whatever? Or maybe the mailbox doesn't exist. That will kind of help you a lot there. So in some situations, you might want to just like literally copy this or screenshot it and send it to the person you're trying to send to and say, hey, this is what it's saying to us. It's saying your email address doesn't even exist. And they'll be like, oh, really? And then they'll say, all right, and then leave it to them. Have them call up their service provider. The service provider will probably tell them, no, your email address is fine. But, of course, they're going to have proof that it didn't get, that they rejected it. And that will put the onus on them. That will at least put the ball back into their court for telling them why they're blocking it. Because sometimes they'll just put that on there, like mailbox not found, but really the mailbox exists. But they're doing some other kind of anti-spam filtering. They're just not letting us know that that's really what's going on. All right. So, but what I was going to say, by the way, is this list is going to become a global list. So you're going to be able to search on all emails sent out, even the invites and password resets. We're going to have a log for that will show you delivery attempts there as well. Hopefully that'll be ready by tomorrow. And that will help a lot. So, because sometimes I get people saying, like, I don't even see it in the log. All right, so we want to make sure that that's available. So here's the thing. So what will GoToMyAccounts pursue? What will we look up? What will we handle for you? If it's an internal block, if it's some kind of internal block or it says mailbox not found, there's nothing we can do about that. We don't have control over their mailboxes. We don't have control over their internal spam filtering. We don't even have control over the text that goes out in your emails. We let you control the email template. So we don't have any control over that part. The one thing we do have control over is this. We will let you validate so your emails show as being valid, coming from a valid server with domain keys enabled. And we will also pursue if we find out that the block resulted from a public RBL, like, what do you call it? DNSBL or RBL block. So what you want to do is if it says something like that on there, go to one of these three sites. One of them is dnswatch.info. Do a search on the mail server, which is this IP address, where you can just use postal.gotomyaccounts.com. Do a search. If you see anything come back on it here, then by all means go ahead and open a ticket. Send us a screenshot or tell us, copy and paste it, whatever you want to say, and then we will contact them to have it removed. Here's another one to check. I would check these three. Check antiabuse.org. This is another one that's pretty good and reputable. Search on the IP address, and again, in this case, we're not on any lists, and then check also MX Toolbox, which is a good one. Do a blacklist check on the IP address, and you'll see also on here we're not on any known public RBL list. If the block or the rejection of the email is based on some other internal algorithm, then GoToMyAccounts will not pursue those. We will only request to be removed from public RBL lists like these. If it's internal, then either your customer, you can copy and paste the message in the log, and the customer can go contact their provider, or if you want to try to contact the provider and say, hey, I'm trying to send an email to this person and it's not being delivered, help me out here, you can do that as well. It's just that GoToMyAccounts will not do those on your behalf. We just don't have the resources to chase after every company, and their internal policies are all different. Some of them are more aggressive, some of them are not. And like I said, we just don't have control over that, and we certainly don't have the time to just go looking up every single email that some company decides not to let through. We don't even know why they do it, right? We have lists here that we can check that most companies are using for spam filtering, and then we know about domain validation checks like this. But anything else that they do regarding blocking internal algorithms, that's going to be kind of up to you to go after that and chase them down to see why they're doing it and what can be done. So that's basically our policy. The only other situation where we can maybe do something would be if you go into your SMTP log and there's something else going on, some other obscure kind of error. We can take a look at that at least, I guess, and see what it is. But probably most likely, if everything is configured correctly here, we're probably going to just reply with a copy of this knowledge base article and say, you can go after the, contact the recipient's mail provider or send a copy of the log to the recipient and say, hey, here's what's happening when we send emails to you. What do you want us to do? You're blocking us. We can either send to a different email address, or maybe you should contact your email provider and ask them why they're blocking emails from us. That's about it. That's about all we can do. And it's not ideal, I admit, but all that we can do through our service is provide you with the tools to set up proper domain validation for sending. And then if we end up on some kind of a public blacklist, we will pursue that and get it removed. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot we can do because we don't have control over those third parties. So anyway, I hope that helps to explain that all. And if you're still running into some issue or you just simply cannot figure out how to get it resolved, you can go ahead and open up a ticket. But like I said, it will probably be the policy of GoToMyAccounts that we will not intervene unless there's some kind of a public list that we have to address. Your best shot is probably going to be to just contact the customer, or you can even directly contact their email provider and tell them what's going on and see what they can do.